Last name is Ramos. It's Isabelle, and the last name is Ramos, Ramos.
Okay, and then your daughter's name?
Gabriella, Gabriella, Guzman, Guzman.
And she's 5 years old now?
Yes,
Okay.
she's 5.
So, first of all, so tell us a little bit about your daughter and her circumstances. She has to stay home and have a nurse 24 hours a day. Why is that?
She cannot breathe on her own. She cannot swallow on her own. And because she can't swallow on her own, she is completely and utterly ventilator dependent. She needs suctioning, frequent suctioning, to clear out her airways because she has no ability to clear her own airways whatsoever. She is non-ambulatory, which means she cannot move at all. And she is on a pulsimeter so that we can see if she's getting the proper air that she needs. She's breathing properly. There's enough oxygen going through her body for normal organ function. She has a backup ventilator. She has a suction machine, the pulsimeter. It's basically like a mini ICU here in our home.
So how do you pay for that mini ICU right now?
Right now, the majority of it is covered through a waiver program through the Department of Specialized Services for Children, DSCC. It's a state-run waiver program for children, medically fragile children who are under the age of 21 years.
Okay. And so, when did you get this letter, and what does this letter say?
We received a letter from my daughter's nursing agency that said that the Illinois General Assembly and Governor Rauner have decided, starting May 1st, there's a 16.75% pay cut for each home care nurse. And that's equivalent to approximately $4 an hour of a pay cut for each one of these nurses. My daughter requires specialized nurses. They have to have at least 2 years pediatric training before they can even take care of a child like my daughter. They go through ventilator training as well, and that's the bare minimum. And she needs 24 hours a day, constant nursing care, constant observation, and it's covered by this waiver program. And this is going to limit nurses. It's basically $15 to about $19 an hour when nurses can work in a hospital for at least, I think the starting salary is $25 an hour. So this is going to cause a lot of nurses to leave working for home care and start to work in hospitals. It's going to cause a lot of these nursing agencies to not accept children that are on this waiver program as well. And right now, just to start with, there's only a handful of pediatric agencies in this state of Illinois, and then on top of that, not all of them are accept the waiver program. And now with this salary cut, a lot of them are probably going to just completely just take private insurance for a lot of these patients. So my daughter is probably going to be left without nursing care at home, and there's a chance that she might just be institutionalized. And I mean, it's so much more cost effective to have her in the home. So I can't understand why the Illinois General Assembly and Governor Rauner would want to cut something that is so much more cost effective, and it keeps these kids out of the hospital when they're in the home, and it's one-on-one care with it's the nurse and one patient.
So your biggest fear is that essentially you wouldn't be able to take care of your daughter, and because you have to have a trained nurse with her 24 hours a day, and that she would be put in some sort of an institution, some sort of a hospital somewhere where you would get to see her how often?
I know that we did some research on some of these institutions, and not a lot of them, they're not funded well either. And I think it's like one nurse to, on average, 10 patients. and they're not fully funded, kids don't survive and thrive. They really don't. They don't live very long. They don't thrive. We would have to travel a couple of hours to get to her. We'd be limited to their office hours. My main concern though would be that she wouldn't be getting the care that she's getting here. It's a one-on-one, and it's so much more cost effective, this one-on-one care that she's getting here. It's a lot cheaper than to have her in an institution. So, I mean, logically, it really doesn't make sense to me.
So right now the agency is saying, you know, this is what's happening through May and in June, and right now we're gonna take the hit. But after June 30th, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, they can't continue to absorb this pay decrease for their nurses and make a profit. So I'm not sure if they're going to decide that they're not gonna take children that are on this waiver program and they're only gonna take private duty nursing. I'm not sure what's gonna happen after this.
And then what about your private health insurance? How many weeks out of the year would you guys be able to cover with your private health care for Gabriella in the home?
The private health care insurance that we currently have, it's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Idaho. They only cover one week out of the year. There's no way that she needs constant care. There's no way that our private duty insurance would, cover enough. It's just 1 week out of the year, so that's not even an option for us.
And in the past few years, talk to us about some of the progress that Gabriella has made being home with these nurses.
She's continuing to thrive. The teacher 2 years ago, neurology, for example, has acknowledged that she tries to localize a voice. If someone talks to her, she tries to localize where that voice is coming from. Her teacher that the two of you guys just met has acknowledged that she can't track, she can't follow a moving object, but she tries. Her eyes will widen. So he's using an iPad and he puts it up in front of her, and he has special kids programs on there for her. She enjoys sound. She's an auditory learner. He's determined that, and he's trying to get her. There's a plan, an IEP in place to try to get her to have some more structure where she knows that this is class time, and so that she's alert, that she's aware and more alert. And he's starting to see that she's starting to grasp mainly in her left hand, so it looks like she's going to be a lefty. But she's starting to try to grasp it. It's very subtle, but we were excited when she was just able to move a pinky, and now she can move her hands, and she kind of moves her head from side to side when being spoken to, or when she has a special project with the teacher.
So talk to us, if you could, if you had a sit-down meeting and I was Governor Rauner, what would you tell him, and what would you say why this program is so important, and what kind of devastating impact this would make on families to cut this funding?
I don't know how he came about with the decision to make all these cuts, if it was just a rash, quick decision to just get down to the bottom line that they needed to get down to, but he's cutting in areas that maybe they should have really thought about it a little bit more, because true, he's cutting and he's saving money by cutting down nursing care, but these kids will end up in an institution that costs a lot more. So what is his reasoning? Is it just a short-term savings, but later on, how is he going to deal with all these kids going into an institution? They're either going to an institution where it costs more, or they won't survive. They'll end up expiring. My daughter needs this care. And so I don't understand this. Why would these multi-million-dollar companies, why would he give them tax breaks and let these little kids not get the care that they need? If this was his daughter, I think decisions that he would have made would have been a lot more different.
How would you feel if you had to put Gabriella in an institution and not have her home with you every day?
It would be scary, because I know she wouldn't survive. She wouldn't be thriving the way that she's thriving right now. She'd probably have a lot of problems with tracheitis. She'd have a lot of problems with her G-tube. She'd probably have a lot of constipation that wouldn't be addressed, and that would cause infection around the G-tube site. Those are the main things that you would probably see. Diaper rash, more of that. She'd probably, her eyes, she probably would have needed cornea transplants.
But how would that make you personally feel, just not having your daughter at home with you?
That would hurt, because I would feel that she would be whittling away somewhere in an institution. She would die. I really believe she would not thrive. She would not be here if it wasn't for this home care waiver.
And then what do you think of, having all these nurses here every day and all of their help? And I'm sure they're obviously very nice, amazing people for the type of job that they have. What's that mean to you to have this support that you have?
We've been fortunate to have nurses that have been here. One of them has been here for almost 5 years, one for 4 years, and then I think the nurse that's here now has been here for about 2 years, maybe 3. She's nodding her head, so it's about 2 years, and they're amazing. They really care about her. They really do. They wouldn't have been here with the pay that they get. They wouldn't have been here as long if they didn't really enjoy doing what they're doing. So why would you add insult to injury by even cutting their pay down? When on the other hand, you got McDonald's wanting to raise the minimum wage, and these nurses who are professionals are getting close to almost what these people want the minimum wage to be raised up to. That makes no sense to me.
So these people are like your family.
I don't want to say that, and then we're overstepping a boundary.
Yeah.
But yes, they're very special to us, and we go out of our way every day to let them know that they're appreciated. We thank them every time they leave. We thank them when they do overtime for us. We thank them when they cover holes in our schedule. They do their best to try to help us. We thank them for that.
But of course, they would need to do what's best for them as well, so you're scared you would lose them.
They can't live off of a wage like that. I mean, they've gone to school, they've spent thousands of dollars to go to school, and then they're not being compensated for it. So of course, it makes more sense for them to completely leave home care nursing. This is not the type of nursing that's like hospice or short term. This is a long term type of nursing care, and it's like I keep reading, it's like a mini ICU in here. They need quality nurses in here to continue with her care, and by providing that, it's a lot more cost effective than having her in an institution. It logically does not make sense to me. It really doesn't. It just blows my mind that he would choose to cut here, but then if they're in an institution, it would cost a lot more. It just does not make any sense.
Is there anything you think I missed that you want to add?
Not that
You think we're good? Do you think we missed anything, Miss Nurse?
No, I think you covered everything, yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. Eric, you think we're good? Did you understand all of that?
Oh, yeah.
Just because since it's complicated.